that they didn't have to worry about their brothers, that he had been in touch with them and they were okay. End quote. Widner added that his grandmother, who would have been John and Clarence Anglin's mother, would sometimes receive roses with her son's signatures on the card following the 1962 escape. Multiple family members of John and Clarence Anglin have claimed over the years at family funerals that they have noticed mysterious women wearing veils and or heavy makeup, which could have been the undercover Anglin brothers coming to pay their respects. In 2015, a History Channel show claimed that a photo taken of two men in Brazil 13 years after the escape depicted brothers John and Clarence Anglin alive. The photograph came from Fred Brizzi, a childhood friend of the Anglin brothers, who turned it over to the family sometime in the 1990s. Brizzi's story is that he was on a trip in Brazil when he happened to run into John and Clarence at a bar. Brizzi has since passed away. Many in the Anglin family have held onto the belief that John and Clarence survived the escape. They also believe the photo shows John and Clarence. An expert connected with the History Channel show concluded that the photo showed the Anglin brothers. The U.S. Marshal's Office investigated the claim. Their experts do not believe the photo depicts John and Clarence. However, they acknowledge that a solid determination isn't really possible given the age and wear to the photo and the fact that the subjects are wearing sunglasses.
Their execution of this plan was so impressive that I know it's technically not legal to do this, but just give them a pass.
Also, even let's say they survived the escape.
Yeah.
The fact that they didn't get into trouble for the next 50 years means jail worked for them.
Jail worked.
They received penance, and now they've stuck to the plan. They had a lot of conviction.
Yeah.
And you know what? They deserve to be free at that point.
I mean, prison truly should be about reforming the soul of a man.
And these folks, all they did was drink Caprinos in Brazil.
As for the aftermath of the escape, Alan West, the inmate left behind, cooperated with officials in the search, finishing serving his sentence across
Old
3 different
MacDonald's
prisons
had
following
a farm.
Alcatraz, and was released in
E-I-E-I-O.
1967. But he
The
remained
cluck,
free
cluck
for only
down.
1 year before landing himself concurrent
E-I-E-I-O.
sentences of 5 years, 1 to 3 years, and life for grand larceny and robbery. He died in 1978. Alcatraz shut down in March 1963, less than a year after the Anglin Morris escape. The FBI officially closed their case on the 1962 escape from Alcatraz on December 31st, 1979, over 15 years after their investigation began. However, they add, quote, "It's one mystery we'd all like to solve," end quote. The case is expected to remain open with federal marshals until either the fugitives are arrested, evidence of their deaths is found, or the fugitives reach 99 years of age. In the end, nobody truly knows if the enterprising bunch of Alcatraz escapees completed their journey, or if their midnight voyage was ill-fated. For now, the case remains unsolved.
Unsolved.
I'll tell you what, on my 99th birthday, I'd be walking into the U.S. Marshal's office and just being like, fuck you
Your
guys.
grandson wheels you in a wheelchair, and you're just sunglasses on, just.
Fuck you, coppers.
It's me. I was drinking Caprinos for the last 30 years. Suck it, coppers. And then you just die in your wheelchair.
Ah!
Every member of my family fights this fight. We get paid to give advice. So let me give you some. Wherever you're from, you should go back. You won't make it here. You help these parasites. You hold it together for everyone else.
Your couriers, fix-it men, part-time gangsters. You hate this town, and all you've done since you were a little boy is dream of leaving.
I don't know how to leave.
Just deal with the devil, brother.
She been in the jaws of the beast. Someday he gonna finish his meal.
Every once in a while, it's nice to remind them
They're the prisoners, not us.
Didn't even make it a month before this place tore me to pieces.
Oh, I got some bad news for you. This is not torn to pieces. Not even close. It's coming.
All right, breakfast is ready. Oh.
Whoops. Well,
This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, we discuss the enduring mystery behind the disappearance of famed pilot Amelia Earhart. This one has been the topic of wide speculation for about 80 years now. There's a lot of interesting theories out there.
I don't know any of them.
This seems cut and dry, but
Oh no? There's more to it?
there may be more than meets the eye here.
Oh.
All right. Shall we just get into it then?
Yes.
On July 2nd, 1937, Amelia Earhart, the first woman to cross the Atlantic and one of the most famous women in the world, disappeared along with her navigator, Fred Noonan, while attempting to circumnavigate the globe at the equator. Before we get into the incident, let's quickly provide some context into how accomplished Earhart truly was. The Babe of the Sky.
Oh, is that what they called her?
I've heard that, yeah.
That's dope.
It's pretty sick.
Babe of the Sky. Yeah, there goes Amelia Earhart, Babe in the Sky.
Amelia Earhart was born on July 24th, 1897 in Atchison, Kansas. In 1928, Earhart became the first woman to cross the Atlantic, albeit as a passenger in a plane with two other pilots. However, on May 20th to the 21st of 1932, Earhart would make the trip again, this time alone, flying from Newfoundland to Ireland for about 15 hours. She was the second person to ever complete this flight. During this trip, she demonstrated her resourcefulness in times of peril, as her plane suffered a leak in the fuel tank, ice on the wings, and a cracked manifold, which caused the engine to spew flames at one point. Yet, she still completed the flight. On August 24th, 1932, Earhart flew from LA to Newark, setting a record at that time for longest distance flown without refueling. She also became the first female pilot to complete a non-stop transcontinental flight.
She's got some salt in the game.
She's the Michael Jordan of flying.
Well, Michael Jordan never disappeared on a basketball court forever.
Well, I meant
so.
in terms of accomplishments. Michael Jordan never went up for a dunk and then just disappeared. Like, whoa, where'd he go? Where'd the air go? This takes us to 1937, when Earhart set her sights on circling the globe, zigzagging along the equator, requiring long hauls over water. If successful, she would have been the first female pilot to fly around the world. Her journey would have taken her about 29,000 miles over roughly 40 days, starting and ending in California, and would have included 20 stops, including San Juan, Calcutta, and Bangkok.
Hope she's bringing some chewy bars.
One time, I went on a flight to Asia, and I felt like I wanted to die.
How long was it?
It was, like 19 hours.
And this was 40 days?
This is 40 days.
Ay, ay, ay.
That's a month.
Yeah, that's more than a month.
Can you imagine doing one thing for a month? Like eating popcorn, our favorite thing to do in the world. Imagine sitting in a chair and all you did was eat popcorn. Okay, that sounds pretty good. That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
That's a bad example.
Yeah.
Earhart flew in a twin-engine Lockheed 10 Electra, a 10-passenger high-performance airliner, specifically outfitted with special tanks that allowed it to carry over 1,000 pounds of fuel, rather than the usual 200.
So when they built this one, they specifically said, let's make a plane that won't catch on fire.
I mean, that's the goal with every plane, is it?
Seems like they're not doing a great job at that, though.
I'm just saying, do you imagine there's someone that's like, oh, it would be funny if this plane caught on fire halfway through the
Could be.
trip.
There's some sickos out there. If there's some misogynist pieces of shit on there, on that team, he's screwing the little bolts on, and they're like, you know what they're gonna use this for? No. Well, they're that Babe of the Sky. She's gonna fly around the globe. Oh, is that so? Is that what she thinks she's gonna do?
Oopsie.
Oops.
There goes a screw.
Yeah.
The sky belongs to men. On May 21st, Earhart and her navigator Noonan started their journey from Oakland, California. On the morning of July 2nd, 1937, 42 days into their journey, Earhart and Noonan prepared to leave Lae, New Guinea. Leaving Lae, the Electra was carrying the most fuel it had on this expedition, about 1,000 pounds worth. They were already roughly 22,000 miles into the trip and had about another 7,000 to go before returning to California. She planned to stop 2,556 miles away on Howland Island to refuel. It was about an 18-hour flight. Harry Balfour, the radio operator for Guinea Airways in La A, set up a schedule for he and Earhart to send transmissions to each other once every hour. Soon after Earhart's plane took off, Balfour noted that the headwinds were stronger than anybody had thought. He sent transmissions of this information to Earhart 3 times over the course of 2 hours. However, Earhart did not seem to get these transmissions. Headwind speed could affect plane speed, gas consumption, and length of flight. Around 2:18 p.m., Earhart's transmissions, which had been blocked earlier, were finally received by Balfour in La A. She gave her speed 140 knots and altitude 7,000 feet, and things seemed to be okay. A little over an hour later, her next transmission